We stopped in the middle of the Sigya. We said over here one of the reasons why we are ma'acher. If you read the Megillah on Shabbos, we don't. If Purim falls on Shabbos, you don't read it on Shabbos because the name Shalaniyim Nesiyas will make a Megillah because the name they're waiting. They want to tzedakah. And it's interesting. The Ethiopians when they came to Shul. Ethiopians, they had a version of Yiddishkeit which we believe was incorrect, because it didn't have the Gemara things. But they believed they had the right versions. Actually, in the letter, one of the Ethiopians writes, this is going back way before they came, like that we'll teach you Yiddishkeit, you'll teach us. And one of the big friction was they have a minig, which they give to Dukkha and Shul on Shabbos. So maybe on Shabbos, they don't have this concept of muktzah and things like that. And this was a big mitzvah for them. And a lot of things for them was hard to give up on because they're like, this is a mitzvah, so we have to give it up because you believe it's also. This is a lot of friction caused in this concept over here. Even though we said Kvar Magdim Knisa, Goyim Babiyam, they are Machalik Matusivim on that day Yom Knisa, Machalik Babiyam they give Matusivim that day. Not Afapi means because we are Magdim Megillah to that day, so we want to give Matusivim that day. Because we said that these villages are Magdim Knisa. So therefore, because of that reason, also we are going by Machalik Matusim that day. Because they are waiting for the money over there. Simcha, even in the towns which they're Magdim Megillah to early days, but the mischief of Simcha is always going to be only on Yom Yidal as well. That doesn't change. Umarav, Sukra, Megillah. If you read Purim Mizmana, if it's in the correct time. You read it over here, even be yochid. Even be yochid, read over here. Even one person might tell there's no chiv to do with sibber. Maybe it's in the hidden, but the chiv you can be mekayim megillah even be yochid if you read in the correct time. Shalei bizman, but if you be magdim it to the earlier days because in the Purim, those days is basura has to be with 10 people. Omar Bain Bisman, Shlem Bisman, and Basura, Safet Bisman, Shlem Bisman has to always be 10. However, the Rav is a story which about Rav, although he didn't hold it, that was Choshish to Savas, even on Purim, you have to have 10 people. The Rav say that you don't need to have 10 people. Vomer Ravida, Bereider of Shmuel Bashidas Vishmai Rav, Purim Shechalias B'Shabbos, Purim which falls on a Shabbos. That Kemtos is Erev Shabbos Manam. If Purim falls on Shabbos, when is the correct time? Erev Shabbos. Is the Chayir for the Gemara Erev Shabbos Manam? Vu Shabbos Manam. What do you mean Erev Shabbos is the time? Shabbos is the time. It's not Erev Shabbos. Shabbos is the correct time. What is the Gemara trying to say over here? Erev Shabbos Manam. Huchukuma. Shaloi bez Manam kiz Manam. Maz Manam afil b'Yuchid. Af Shaloi bez Manam afil b'Yuchid. Mean to say that Erev Shabbos, even though it's not the correct day because being magdim it, but it's like Zmanam, and therefore you don't have to have 10 people. Rav said that if it's Shaloi Zmanam, you have to have 10 people. So I say, why don't you have to have 10 people over here? So no, the God Megillah you need to have 10 people because the Shaloi Zmanam. Elamai Erev Shabbos Zmanam. What does it mean that Erev Shabbos is the correct time? Lefikim the Rebbe, the Omar Hoyel v'Nitche Yusmim Koyim and Yitchel Meknisa. Rebbe held that if Purim falls on a Shabbos, as we saw yesterday, if it's anyways not being Shabbos, you might as well make it on Thursday. This way, it's the Yom HaKnisa. Kamash Malan, the Erev Shabbos Manim, that no, that the Erev Shabbos is the correct time. Agav, so this Adin, Aloch Lamasa, you may think of something on the guy of Manayni, but actually is because Shulchan brings down if someone is going to travel and he knows he's not going to be in town. He's traveling, he's going to somewhere, and there's not a Megillah with him, he can't bring with him. There's a chiv to read Megillah earlier. So let's say your person knows he's not being permanent in town and he want to have Megillah, he has no idea to read Megillah, he can't. So he has to go read Megillah on the 13th of Udar, or the 11th or 10th. Yes, even from Rosh Chodesh, things are Shulchan Aruch. Even from Rosh Chodesh already, the person should read Megillah. But Asura, 10 people has to be with. Because of Yos, that the din over here, Muslim Shloi Bisman has to be Asura. So if it's 10 people, if it's before Purim, you have to have 10 people.
Those 10 people also have
to. No, don't have to. And they can even be Ketanim as well. They can even be kids.
It's the Purim.
It's Purim. Exactly, it's Purim. Why do we pass on Purim? It has to be 10 adults. Why is the Purim there different than Purim of the actual Purim? So it has to be mechalik that when if it's before Purim, Here,
there's nothing else.
There's nothing else. So by making a matzah, it'd be like, therefore it's very easy to make a Purim Seuda. But on Purim itself, you make it because it's Purim today. So therefore you need to have it needs to be there proper meaning. There's different mahachamat to explain the chelik of it, but I'm just bringing up a point. You asked what type of meaning it could be. It could be meaning of katanim as well, as I state in the halacha shachanur, but it is brought halacha lamas. So there's a very interesting round over here, very interesting round. There's a Mishabir R Yossi talks about a shala, which is very negative to shala. We know that if you don't have a minyan, you have only 6 people that davened. You don't have to have rough 6 people, 10 people is enough if 4 people davened. What about Kriyas Torah? Does Kriyas Torah also enough if 6 people heard to be mechayev Kriyas Torah? Kriyas Torah is only chiv on the tzibur, it's not chiv on the yuchud. I'm not discussing if it's a chiv on any individual, that's a separate chiv, but I mean to say, we don't read Kriyas Torah for 1 person for 10 people. Does it have to be all 10 people, or does it enough to be 6 people or not? Bishmir brings this chakir from Chayudam. The rest is Shemati Megudal Echad from Megudal Echad, arrive from the Ran Ba'as, which in a second the Ran says, and that the Ran says that the Rav is enough. There's a shat over here. Agav, who was his Gudal Echad? This Gudal Echad was a Sheshiva of Radin, but Moshe Ladinsky, who was a Shiva of Radin. Mishmir very seldom brings people which were alive in his times. They can count on maybe on one hand, maybe in how many people he quotes which were alive in his times. There's actually even a whole story that there's one point in Ilchas Shaifa which Mishmir brings Dar Sameach. There's a whole backstory. They claim why he brought him, because he wanted to mephais him. There was a fight which he wanted to sort of like a show that he has nothing against him, so he brought him down. It's a long story, but I'm just pointing out that it's very seldom should bring someone who's alive. And here he brings this chiddush that the good lechat showed him this Ram. What is this Ram? The Ram says over here. Then has a shab over here, but this din over here of a surah or not. If you need to have a surah or not, the yuchad b'tzibur. Shana has a ganze discussion. Why is this not brought down with the sigya of the things that need to have 10? There's a whole sigya which is brought down in the Mesechta Megilla Daf, things that need to have a minyan 10. Why is this not brought down as well? That din over here. So this is Ramban Zal Kosav Sha'ain Ziraya. The Chol Oisim the Kuchoshav Hosam Chayves Sibir. All the things that were brought down the Chav Gimel, those are all Chayves Sibir. The things which are Chayves Sibir. The Ein Oisim Oisam Ilm Kan Hasora. The 10 or Ribam Mechiv Meduva. The 10 or majority of them are Mechiv Meduva. The 10 over here, Megillah Zuktim Ramban, no one has to have been yetz, even on Purim itself. If you want to have the Indian of having 10, such an Indian maybe, you don't have to have the 10 adults from Makayim. You can take 10 people from the streets. They all have Megillah. That's called 10 as well. It's under Mechiv Megillah, 10 does not need to be, but like about other things mentioned of Chov Gimel, there it has to be 10 or Rav that they're not here. But you see over there the words, the genius of Moshe Ladinsky, that he says over there, the Ramban says that 10 or Rav did not, in that sigil of Chov Gimel, which is referring to Kriyas Torah, to Kaddish, to Tefillah, that sigil says 10 or Rav did not. So from that chiddush you see or Rav, you see that Rav is enough to Kriyas Torah. If you have 6 people which didn't Kriyas Torah and 4 did, you can have Kriyas Torah as Zeshtat Mishabir Redocha. So it's an interesting story that there's once Chaim Briscoe was in Barsha one time, and he declared the shal as well. Chaim Briscoe, this is a big shal which he declares if the Chiv of Kriyas Torah is the Chiv Tzibur, Yuchad, the Ganze Sigya. And he said to Chakir, so one Rav said to him, there's a Ram. This Ram, the Ram says in Parish over there, Rav is enough. So Chaim says, no such Ram. No such Ram. Look, the Ram says over here, that Chol Oisim Shem, old thing mentioned over there, that the Ein Oisim Ein Ken Asor, or Ruba Mechiv Mudava. So Chaim Briscoe says you're reading incorrectly this Ram. Yes, word like this. That's why I have to check it up again because I can't remember it. The Chol Oisam, the Koi Choshev Hosam Chayves Sibba, all things mentioned over there, Kriyas Torah, Kaddish, all things over there is a Chayves Sibba. The Ein Oisam Ein Ken Asor, only this 10. Tama. If the Ruba Mechiv Mudava could go Shlashoni Kaddish Barchi, or Rav by Kaddish Barchi. We'd say that not Kriyas Torah, that you have to have a comma. The 10 is going on. Everything mentioned over there, but it's very nice, but it's a big deal to say that. That there's a comma over here and you have to read it like it. Linguistically, it doesn't really go so well. But it's a chiddush. He said that going over there, everything over there is 10, you have to have 10 people. Or Rav by Kaddish and Barchi. So the Chaim says, I didn't know this wrong. It's not that I knew this wrong. But I knew so strong that the svur, that to say that I held so strong in my svur that there cannot be that the Rav is enough. So therefore, when he said this Ran, I said there's no such Ran. Therefore, I knew the Ran doesn't say it. So if you showed me Ran, I thought I had to find to put a comma. But it's not true that he knew the Ran and knew that that's how I said over there. They say a story that the Maitrist Ili, was once by Shir, and so someone mentioned the Yishalmi, and he said, there's no such Yishalmi. And afterwards, someone said, Fair Yishalmi, he said, that's not Pshat Yishalmi. He said the correct Pshat Yishalmi. That's me. You know every Yishalmi says no, but I know how the Yishalmi thinks. And the Yishalmi doesn't think like this over here. I know this is not something Yishalmi would say. So therefore I knew it's not Pshat. So Chaim Brisker knew how the round thought. He said it's not Pshat. And therefore he adds this comma, which sort of changes the whole halacha, which is a major halacha after minute. Putting one comma sort of changes the whole picture of it. Mishabir, by the way, doesn't hold like that. Mishabir holds this is a raya from the Iran. Therefore halacha lamasi holds it 6 people can't hikkus ter is enough. And if you have just masim b'chal yom, it's a very important shalom. Zugim Mervata. Zugim Mishnah. What is considered to be a larger city? There's 10 people which are butum and melucha, basically a kaila. If it's less than that, that is a village. If it's less than that, it's a village. And the following things, the loch is we are magdim, and we don't delay. There are some things which we have in the year which if it doesn't fall out on Shabbos, we bring it earlier, sometimes we bring it later. You know what? Megillah, we bring it earlier. We say instead of reading on Shabbos, we bring it earlier. Aval Zman Atzekahanim, the Yom Tov of Atzekahanim, which is a special day which certain families had, who used to bring the Eitzim for the Mizbeach. They made special Yom Tov in it. It's put in more Tanis and more Psuchim. So that was a Zman which, if it falls on Shabbos, you're Ma'acheret, you are not Magdimit. Tisha B'Av, if Tisha B'Av falls on Shabbos, you fast on Sunday instead of Shabbos. Hakel, if Hakel is supposed to be the last day of Yom Tov, if it falls on Shabbos, you do it on Sunday. So Rashi says over here, the Maschel Hakel, the Maschel Chagiga. So Rashi says over here, Imchal Yom Tov b'Shabbos doich Hashem Chagiga b'Tumachol. So we'll see the Gemara more about Chagiga. Sheyesh ot Hashem Kol Shiva. So we'll leave that for the Gemara a second. V'chein Hakel. The Gemara is not going to discuss Hakel. V'chein Hakel esaham shehoy b'shon Rishon Shel Shmitze b'Matzah Yom Tovachim. Shachar. This year Shnas Hakel actually. Tiksiv Mikra et Sheva Shunim b'Moed Shnas Hashmitze. Could you meet him Mesechta Seuda? Shehamelech Koy b'Torah. The Melech would read from the Torah. Say from Mishnah Torah. V'chol Am Chayuv and living. Everybody is mechayev to come. Elehevi is tapping to bring their children. Tiksiv Hakel esaham Hanoshim v'Taf. If b'Shabbos yevshe. B'Shabbos you can't bring the children because you can't carry them. Therefore you push it off to. So Rashi's masber. Why can't Hakel be a Shabbos? Because you can't bring the kids to shul. You can't bring the kids to Beis Hamikdash. The Gemara Yishan mefarish do the Lavdina leBeShabbos u'Pnei Bima because they have to erect a bima on the Beis Hamikdash. Because now bima shalei tzor ois in the Melech Basur v'Yoshem Leyu. The Prechin Hosam Leva they have to do the make the bima from day earlier. Pshan the Chikula Ezor is no place in Azor before because the sukkahs is no place. So they can only build on that day. And that day it can't go to Shabbos. So Mechalik is Shami and Rashi. Rashi the reason you can't carry children, and the Shami says the reason is because you can't build over here the bima. The problem with Rashi is that there's two additions over here. Number one, what is the issue of carrying children? What's this? So how old are these children? The Pashas, who says what is the definition of taf? Is the chiyuv to bring a taf to the Beis Hamikdash? What is that?
The first mission Chagiga.
How old? That's the gab chiyuv of Oile Regel, not the gab chiyuv hakel. That's it's true, right? Chiyuv Oile Regel. We're doing chiyuv hakel. The pasuk is taf to bring a taf. How old is a taf? So there's ranging opinions. There's a Bechar Shah, the Shiurim holds 14, 15-year-olds is considered taf still. Even if the guy thinks still called a taf. So there's a bit ranging shittas. Now, if it's a 14, 15-year-old or a 9-year-old kid, there's no issue to bring the Beis Hamikdash. You don't have to carry them, so it's not an issue. So Rashi must be holding a taf is referring to a baby. It's a chiddush to bring a baby, which is a big chiddush. Someone doesn't even understand everything. You have to bring a baby to shul to hear the hakel, which is a big chiddush. So Rashi is one of those basic stuff of a big chiddush that taf means babies, and that's a big chiddush. So that's number one. Number two is a big thing of Shabbos. There's no issue deraisa to carry a child on Shabbos. And my Moshe Feinstein relies if you have a baby, which is that's not exactly his example, but they rely on Moshe Feinstein. They have a baby screaming in the streets, and you have to take him out. Not to carry him on Shabbos because there's no Shisarab Mizmaneni, and therefore this is Chaynes Atzmai. So therefore it's Shviz the Shviz. But Mokum Tzarech Good, you're allowed to carry a baby, and it's Masim B'Choyim. People are passing that you're allowed to carry a child on Shabbos. If he doesn't want to walk home, leaving the freezing cold, you're allowed to carry him on Shabbos. Because Chaynes Atzmai, and Tosi says even by baby we say Chaynes Atzmai, even by anything which is a living object we say Chaynes Atzmai. So what Oibazoi, the issue of carrying the child, even if the Shnaim is a deraisa to carry, like we said yesterday, Shnaim was a Shisaram deraisa, was like bought in the Gemara and Erevin. Even if it says a Shisaram deraisa, but to carry a child is only to the Rabbanan. So how could the Rabbanan push off hakel because of Issa Derabanan. That doesn't make sense. They push off Shofar because this is the Raisa, but the push off hakel because of Derabanan. So Rashi is very sure, which are many of the Shainim arguing. Rashi, the reason is only because of that. Shami says because he can't build the beam, because Rashi's chiddush over here is a big chiddush. You can't say hakel because of little children. You can't bring them to the Beis Hamikdash. Look at Mishnah Vata. Even though we say Magdima and V'lei Ma'acha that you have to bring it forward, you don't have to bring it further. However, B'turim B'hesper B'tanis, those days are not mamish Purim, and therefore you're allowed to give Hesper B'tanis, and also the mitzvah Matanos Avyanim. What's your mitzvah Matanos Avyanim? We say that Be'etz Mishtum Matanos Avyanim are the correct day. You're allowed to do Matanos Avyanim on the early days as well. If you magdim it, you're allowed to do Be'etz Mishtum Matanos Avyanim on the correct day, but you're allowed to do Matanos Avyanim earlier. Let me read it. I must say, when is also allowed to be magdim? If the anyways are coming in on Monday and Thursday. If the enemies not coming in on Monday and Thursday, the Makabas not coming in. You only read it bizmani. We saw this before. Tani Litna Gemura and the Braisa. I saw the Batlonim Shebebeisa Knesses. The Batlonim are not just people we hang around the market. There are 10 people which are always around the shul. They're under. That's the definition of a big city which can support 10 people, which are not even working. They're sitting in the shul. That is the definition of a larger city. The Eli Amri, the following is said to be Magna Macha. My time, what's the reason? Why by Purim do we say go early instead of going later? As you said before, like Layaver means over there that your Purim will never be removed from Klai, so it means Layaver, you're not allowed to delay Purim. Purim always bring it forward, never push it further. Vomar Nachadin, which is no Shachas Asiga, Vomar of Abu Mashmil, Menayin, I'm Moinin Yom Lashonim. How do you know that you don't count days for the year? I mean to say, we have 12 months in a year. Sometimes there's more days in a year because it depends how many full. And sometimes you have Chesh and Kislev both Mula. Sometimes they're both Chlusa. So sometimes there could be a difference of 4 days between some years. We don't count the days of the year. We go, we have, of course, a cycle, 19 years to correct all these sort of missing days. But with a year, definition of a year is 12 months. You only count months for the year. We don't count days for the year. You don't have to calculate days for the year. Rabun the Kasari and the Bun the Kasari, they said another dimashim Rabba. A month, a lunar month, is Chof Tes Yom Yid Ba'ez Yom and Tov Shin Tzad Gimel Chalukim. The lunar month until every cycle the moon makes 29 days, 12 hours, and Tov Shin, which is 793 parts. That is the definition month. But we don't calculate that. That's not how we don't add the hours. I mean to say sometimes you have months which you need more hours, less hours, depends when the Leilat came. Sometimes it's missing from the month. We're not mechashva, we only count days. We don't care about the hours. Sometimes even though there's more hours, less hours. We're not mechashva. Again, this of course has to be sometimes rectified. If you keep doing this again every single month, not calculating the hours, eventually you're going to have an issue like we have the Julian calendar and Gregorian calendar every 20 days. So of course the calendar always takes all these things in effect and always sort of auto corrects itself, although there is still a slight movement because we actually don't get lost in Sigurd here. That's our Sigurd. Now I'm saying because we go with Kifas of Adam Kifas Shmiel, so there's two calculations more shun over there. We take the simpler calendar because it's not easy to calculate Kifas of Adam. The real one's Kifas Shmiel, and that is a slight difference. Over thousands of years, there is a slight movement in the correct. The difference over there, but I'll take not enough to it would be after a long time would be a tremendous difference, and that's something which I can speak about, but it's not something which is our problem right now. Eventually, it may one day be a problem. Put it this way: the Chag Ovav is every year getting slightly closer and closer in the wrong time. It's at some point after many thousands of years, Pesach will be the wrong time. And that's something which will have to be fixed. If not, Mashiach will come. We'll sort of order correct back in college. But our calendar doesn't calculate perfectly the calculations of the moon and everything. So there's issues.
I think, from what I remember reading or hearing, that the thing where it may affect sooner is the Sintana Mata. Because at the moment it's
because that moves off every single day, every day.
Eventually, it could become 6th of December.
It will become, and the year 2100 will become 6th of December.
So that's much sooner than
every 100 years. Except year 2000 didn't move. It's like Nittel. The Nittel also moves every year. Every 100 years, one day.
Right.
Yeah, because but that's more like about the count. Okay, I was man atzek kahanim b'Tisha B'av v'chagiga v'haka ma'achol l'magdin. Those yom achol l'magdin. Tisha B'av, why Tisha B'av yom achet? Because like demon pronounced l'magdin. Why bring putting this forward? So as far as possible, prunios. And Chagiga, how come? What? I don't know, yes, I don't know that that's in the kid, but kid is you're not making the prunios if we can. Chagiga, how come? You can't do Chagiga and Hakel because it's not the time yet. And the Gemara could have really said this text of Tisha B'Av as well. But Tisha B'Av is not true because that time it was a time. Because the Charbon started before Tisha B'Av already. Also afterwards as well. So therefore, but Tisha B'Av, you can't really say Lo Yehagi Zman. The whole 3 weeks is the Zman of Tisha B'Av. Mashak and Chagiga and Hakel, that is Lo Zman Chiv, and therefore we cannot be magdem before that. To know what the Brayse Chagiga v'chol Zman Chagiga Ma'acher. Our Mishnah said Chagiga Ma'acher, which is the carbon Chagiga. You can't bring on Shabbos. Ma'acher v'chol Zman Chagiga. A Bishlam Chagiga. The Mikle Shabbat Ma'acher. The Chagiga falls on Shabbos Ma'acher. The booster Shabbat after Shabbos. Elu Zman Chagiga. What does it mean Zman Chagiga? What does it mean Zman Chagiga? Chagiga b'Shabbos. If Chagiga falls out on Shabbos, Yimachet. The oilis riyah is a carbon which you have to bring the entire regal. Afile b'Yom even on Yom Tov, there's Zman Chagiga ma'achni Yimachet Chalamoit. Mane b'Shamay ditnan is machlokes b'Shamay silu if mevin shloma b'Yom Tov v'ayin samchanai. B'Shamay holds you're allowed to bring a shloma on Yom Tov, but you're allowed to do smicha on it because it's a shvis. To touch behem is this a shvis of a mikzeh. You do before Yom Tov. Avaloi oilis you're allowed to bring on a Yom Tov. So B'Shamay holds you can't bring oil on Yom Tov. So therefore on Yom Tov you can't bring oilis riyah. You can't. So this man of the means to this man riyah you have to also be matcha. Seconds.
And therefore Chagiga.
No, the Chagiga is separate. The Chagiga Yemacher on Shabbos. Chagiga would bring on Yom Tov.
Right.
But the Chagiga Yemacher. And the Zman, the Chiyuv to bring, which is on the Zman, you also Macher as well. That Macher as well. Then the Zman of Chagiga Yemacher. I'm sorry. The Zman, which is Kush to bring a Chagiga, you also Macher. And the Yom Tov, which is the Zman, which is Kush of Chagiga, you Macher the oil. So how to choose Bashamai. If I still am Mavin Shlomo v'Oilis v'Samchanai that's Samchanai. I think the Shabbos I saw that the first machlokes we have is this, not this machlokes mamish, but the machlokes of smicha the karbunis on Yom Tov. That's the first machlokes. The first machlokes we have in the history of machlokes and Klai was brought in Chazal is the inner of smicha hilat to be samech. That's all particularly for Mendel Kasher as a Polish shaguin. Why that? Why is it the first machlokes that developed? I never thought about it. Like why is smicha the first machlokes? This is a fascinating thing. What was the first Issa that Rebuna developed? Miktzah. Miktzah was the first Issa Rebuna. So Miktzah was what's Miktzah? Touch animals. So when it came now, they started thinking on what's more important. The Chiyuv the Rebuna of Miktzah. And the Miktzah was such an important thing, they wanted to strengthen it. So they said maybe we should not allow to do smicha. So because they were machadish the concept of Miktzah, some started having questions, can we do smicha Rebehem on Yom Tov or not? What's more important, the smicha Yom Tov, or maybe mix is so important? We'll even override that as well, and that's something machlokes. But it's direct link between the first machlokes and the first issa derabbanan. And there's other first assumed derabbanan, but the first issa which we find, there's many assumed before that as well. But the first issa we find this mix sort of issa. Mix is like one in this book. Nechemi, it's one of the first assumed we find. There's a direct link between these two machlokes and develop, which is an interesting thing to connect these two things together. I mentioned this, by the way, mentioned over here smicha Yom Tov. So that's the first machlok nasig over here. Rovoma. Chagiga, calls my Chagiga Ma'acher. Then the Chagiga we are Ma'acher is the entire Zman of Chagiga. Means the entire Zman of Chagiga Ma'acher. Tzvai loy. That now Mishla Chag b'Yom Tov Shechag. Whoever didn't bring the carbon Chagiga on the first day of Yom Tov, the killer can still bring it throughout the entire Yom Tov of Sikkis. The Yom Tov Achar Shechag and the last day of Yom Tov as well. Shmini Atzeres. Over a regel, but once it passes the regel, is not mechayev to me anymore. So this is chagiga, the chol zman chagiga, and you can bring it throughout the entire zman of chagiga. What's the entire zman? The entire Yom Tov Sukkos. Rav Ashuma, chagiga, the chol zman chagiga ma'acher. Mean to say, any time there's Ashma here, kol zman should never be chagiga ma'acher in Bil Shabbos. Anywhere where it says chagiga or ma'acher, meaning to say. I feel that says the Chadimi, even Shvis, which only one day, you say, okay, Bishlam is Sukkos, it's Chalamoid, it's Shmini Atzeres. I can push her off until after Shmini Atzeres. But Shaka Shvis, bring it either Shvus, you don't make it all. No, so we say, Kol Zman, every Zman of Chagiga, Sukkos, and Shvis, every Zman of Chagiga, Yolati Machret, and Moedim, that now in the Mishnah, Moedim, Shemchal Atzeres, the Shabbos, Shiyem Tevoich, the day of Kabin Kapunis, is Achashav after Shabbos. So therefore, on Shabbos as well, Yom Achas. Chagiga means the Chagiga of Sukkot. The Chol Zman Chagiga and every other Chagiga as well, we are Ma'achas. That's the three Mahachim learn the Sigil here, what the Chol Zman means over here. Omer Beluz, Omer B'chanina. Rebbe, there was a master by Rebbe Akudish, not in the tea of Purim. He planted a tree on Purim, so he held it's the plant of tree on Purim. Ruchet B'konish Tzapari, and he bathed himself in public in the public bathhouse. B'konish Tzapari. If Vishavus B'tamas, Ashus B'tamas, he held. So what that means over here, one doesn't go into the details over here. It's Pashas Mashma. Rebbe held no Isser Echitza on Tanis. Tosis says maybe he held no Isser to fast either, because at that point in time wasn't clear if the Chit to fast. Not Tosis Yashleima that it's Zichar they were makabel to fast, because the more Shuna says that at some point they weren't makabel all the fasts. We were makabel it. So this is sort of mystical. This is a big shallow why Rebbe was Michael and bathing over here. The problem is that Loch Lamas be paskin, he'll have to bathe on Shvis Batamis. Have Meshabim Ram, but in a room, but Nefesh Shachma he shouldn't. So why wasn't Rebbe being Nefesh Shachma? Why didn't Rebbe do that? So maybe actually maybe that was when have to be machmer today, but many which we were makabel tonight properly, but in those times they weren't makabel tonight properly. It's enough to be machmer that. This is a big shallow why Rebbe was Michael over here, but it's not our sigi. A big ishlaka Tisha B'av, he wanted to be ma'aka Tisha B'av to sort of uproot Tisha B'av. But they did not agree to him. What did he want to uproot Tisha B'av? This is too bad. He held it not from Tisha B'av at all. But he wanted to uproot it from the 9th to the 10th, like a different sigi which brought down maybe Tisha B'av should be in the 10th. That was not how the story went. Tisha B'av Shechales b'Shabbos Abba Tisha B'av on Shabbos. But they push up to Sunday. You push up Tisha B'av to Sunday, falls on Shabbos. Rebbe said, however, because Tisha B'av was already push it off. And he said that, and Kuriyolei basically said that Toivim Hashnaim and Echad. Mean to say when there's two, we mean to say because he said something to another person. He said, you're making a mistake. He said, we're learning alone, you can make mistakes. We learn two people together. He says, you're making a mistake. Yeah, the way we're learning is this way. So for Toivim, Hashnaim, and Echad, it's better to have two than one person. Why? Rebbe wanted the Tisha B'av. Chassidus are very busy with this, that the Rebbe was on Bais David, and they had a Psi because Shez Mashiach was born on Tisha B'av, so they already felt that sort of the Israeli start of the Gil, and they felt it's not so. Not to see why they tried to explain why Rebbe held that Tisha B'av was not so, Rebbe fed the Gemara high chanut to back to Sigya. So Rebbe, how did he plant the tree on Purim? Votan learned of Yosef, Shtayt and Pusik, Simcha im Mishtav Yomtiv, Simcha Malamet Shasim Behespit, Mishtav Malamet Usa Betanis, the Yomtiv Malamet Usa B'Simcha Yomtiv. You're not to work on Yomtiv. After the Gemara, Rebbe Bar Baisa. Rebbe was had to keep Purim on the 14th. The chanut b'Chamas this story happened on the 15th. I knew Rebbe B'Tveria. Rebbe lived in Tveria. B'Tveria Mekevas Chaim Mesechta Megilla Daf. Tveria was Mechiv 15 on the 15th. But Rebbe B'Chamas B'Ket. Rebbe was about 15th. The chanut Rebbe he planted on the 14th. Me pshita the Tveria Mekevas Chaim Mesechta Megilla Daf. Taka push it to the Tveria. You read Taka on the 15th. Taka Purim is on the 15th. Uchizki Kuri. Betveria by Baisa and Chamaisa, Chizki read in the Tveria both at Baisa and the 14th and the 15th. The Mesapkala, Imakopes Chaim Mesechta Megilla Daf, as we mentioned a few times, that any city has a suffix, you have to keep on both days. So the Chizki Mesapkala Chizki had a suffix. Rebbe Rebbe had no town suffix. I mentioned that even towns in Chutzos like Prague and certain towns in Baghdad and other towns of Shtrats in Jewish world which kept 2 days, but our Shonim which held that only a town which for sure had a wall outside its shores Mechiv to be 2 days on 15th. And the Masbel Azay, at the time of the Shushan, if there was no Yiddish communities in those towns, then the suffix didn't start yet. The suffix only starts when they established Purim. At that point, they didn't know that they have a wall not to say no, we'll do both days. But if there was no Jewish community over there, like nobody lived in Prague at the time of Purim, as far as we know. There is it's brought down that in Worms was a community from the first Beis Mikdash. It's brought down in the Said Adoris. It's brought down, and that's why it brings over there that have so much bloodline, so much Jews, because they didn't come back when they were supposed to come back by the first Beis Mikdash by Ezra. So they had a klula from Ezra because that's about the Said Adoris brought down.
About the
Yemen, same thing, yeah, for Yemen as well. There's also a Megala Mikis, which is brought. It's actually printed in a lot of Chemoshim and Rashi and Shoftim. That, but the story of Pelegish ben Yemen, which is prior to the first Beis Mikdash, there's like missing Oisemaya, the 100 people missing the calculations of Moshe ben Yom and the calculations over there in Shoftim. And Rashi says, Oisemaya, we don't know where they went. Like, if you count the Shvutim, it's missing 100. So it brings it from Megala Mikas, Gilli Eliyu is Megala to me. Oisemaya, they went to Ashkenaz. They went to live in Germany. So they were living in Germany, according to this Megala Mikas. We're talking over here in the times of the first the Shoftim, the times, yeah, something like that. And this is a long time ago. Yeah, but my point is that Ritva says that any town outside the Chutzos, which was no Yidden, no suffix started. Now if someone moves that town and says, but maybe it doesn't go like that. Now, that's for sure you keep on the 14th. Only any town which B'Shas Masa of Purim already had a suffix, there we continue the suffix, but not to make a new suffix. That's Mesechta Megilla Daf. So Makom, so Rabbi over here, he knew for sure Tvei was the 15th, and therefore he planted the tree on the 14th. Shiurim is a mitzvah. V'uksiv b'Megillas Tanis, says Megillas Tanis, the earliest work from Chazal. Es Yom Ba'usa, Bes Yom Chemesh Usa, Yom Repeating the days of Purim. The misped by Yati be masped. V'umur b'Lanitzach. What's the chiddush of Megillas Tanis? Is that whatever is also the 14th is on the 15th. They're both also, so if it's also to do Malach on the 14th, for your 15th as well, even though it's not Purim for you. So this is true. The Gabe Hesper Tanis. But Malucha Yom Echad is still and Hesper Tanis also both days. Malucha, even if Malucha is also on Purim, it's only also on that day itself. Rav saw this person which was planting linen on Purim, but he cursed him. But the didn't grow because he cursed him. So the Gemara's happened was that it seems like he only cursed him. He didn't put him in chayrim. He didn't punish him. So therefore, it must be that it wasn't really Purim. Because if it's really Purim, you don't just curse him. You take him to Bezdin, you put him to chayrim, you do much worse. No, it was Purim for him, and that's why he did it. It's a big chiddush from his Gemara. I don't understand. Every time I learn, I don't understand it. It's like as the Gemara is being misalim, like the Gemara, we know that Melucha is not also Yom Tov on Purim. We know that, I'm not sure how it works over here, but when I was growing up in America, many people went to work on Purim, went to the office on Purim. That was really normal, in America, the great American dream. So like the Gemara knows it's not also. So why is the Gemara making believe that it's also? Like we're asking Kashas, how do we do it? It's also. We know it's not true. We have to forget to explain to them why there was even a Havman like to say it's also. Like the Gemara completely being misalim from the fact that we know the minig is not like that. It's interesting. So the Gemara Rabbi B'Rayda I feel the time of B'Yom, even if I say no, it was Rabbi, it was B'Yom. Hesper Tanis, because the Lucha is Hesper Tanis Kibla Yidim only Makabel to Asa Hesper Tanis, which I said right now. Lucha la Kibla Yidim whenever Makabel is some Lucha on Purim. The Makurik said when they originally says when they sent out the Igris over there, Simcha and Mishtav Yom Tov. Esther asked it should be a proper Yom Tov. Esther wanted to be a proper Yom Tov. When it says Yidim Makabel Piyam, it says over there. Last it says Oisem my Mishtav Simcha in a Yom Tov like so. Doesn't say Yom Tov Yidim whenever Makabel Yom Tov. Never noticed that. Yeah, so they were never Makabel Yom Tov. They in the Mefarsh Mekamazbet, who did I see this word from? I don't remember I saw it from Mesechta Tzaddik, when I publish this for him. He brings what's Takab Shot. Esther, Motch asked, we want to make a Yom Tov over here. I say, it's too much Yom Tov. Well, it has to be honest. Yom Tov is a bit overdoing over here. He says, Pink Fakir. He says, we find that Purim came to Kibli Bahava. Yidin Makabel Mater Bahava. Yidin was so rejoiceful in Purim. They said, don't give us restrictions. We're going to celebrate Purim even when you're allowed to do Melucha. Now, Bishlam, when you have day, which is you can't always go to the office, can't always go to work. Fine, okay, you have no choice. Sit down and learn a little bit to celebrate. Yom Tov, it's easier like that. Imagine a day which you can still go to work and you can still do everything over there. And still you're keeping Purim. That's a greater level, right? It's a greater level. Right? And he says, we don't do Yom Tov. We'll show you what Purim will be like. Even without making Yom Tov, we'll celebrate Mishtav Simcha even without Yom Tov. So my time, he got why did you show the person? What did you do wrong? Because that was a minig in the town that didn't do work. It's a minig in the town. But after the Rebbe learned hug, but in town the Rebbe they weren't learning like that. But in his town they weren't learning like that. So therefore, you know that in your town, you can't go against the minig. Wie bei Sai if the Gemara nachadin, the nachadin la olam knew was the minig like no Rebbe in town. The Rebbe in the Tir Shal Simcha was in the Tir Shal Simcha. What is Tir Shal Simcha mean? Because the town in the Mishnah. Arvi Eli, and just more in town over there like but then the 13 days have passed. And there got no rain coming. It says over there, they won't answer yet. Is mamata and b'masa matin. You don't work. The bin bentia, and you don't plant and you don't plant and you don't build. The close maybe to say it says in the Chusen should be mind belamida, should learn less b'shev brachas. There's a certain shulchan aruch b'mayit lemida. He asked him how much he should be mind belamida. How much is how we don't know. He says doesn't know. But let's check wherever else Chazal said to be mayit, and wherever mayit over there. It says in the 9 days you should be mayit masamat. You should work less. For how much people are known to work less in the 9 days, that is how much you should learn less also on Chusen. The same, just use the same analogy of being Memayit over here. So here it is also Memayit Masamat. I'm not sure what Memayit it is over here. So to be Bini Benetia, Be'arsa Benesian, but tune along that it says Bini Shal Simcha, the Netia Shal Simcha mit Netia Shal Simcha, Einzi Bini Shal Simcha, Zehaboine Bais Chasna Bais. You don't need a chuppah for yourself. That's a Bini Shal Simcha. So actually means like a nice tree that had nice shade. Was underneath over there. That was like a nice. That's a simcha tree. The Ashin Tanas brings that this was a tree which, like the Melochim, they would have meaning. They would plant it when the baby was born. They would plant this tree. What is that? And no, they would have it for the chuppah, says, or they have it for they would make a chair out of it, maybe for the chuppah, or I don't remember if it was I know they make a chair of it. Or they bring over Yellow Kita Rashi, to bring it down. No, for the just sit on over here. I don't remember. It says they make a tree over there. They make it to sit over there. I don't remember right now. For the chuppah.
Yes.
Yeah, good for the chuppah. They make the chair for the chuppah. The day they crowned them. The day they crowned them. It was a chair, like in here, they have St. Edward chair, I think it's called. No, what's it called? The one they use the chair to crown everybody. Such a choshev chair, that's the chair which they use. This is the Binishal Tirshal Simcha. Gifa. Cheski Kuyer Tzvei by Baise v'Chamaise. The Mesapkele I Mekufas Chames Shibenin I Loi. Me Mesapkele. Me Mesapkele Milson Tzvei. Vu Kshetan Posik v'Oyer if the Posik Yeshia. Hat sie dem Tsar v'Chamas Rekas v'Keneris. Became Rekas Tzvei. It's the special Posik in Yeshia. That's one of the fortified towns was Rekas. And Rekas Tzvei. Especially Rekas was a fortified town at times of Yeshia. So the Hana Tam and Tapkele Mishim the Chant Giza Shur de Yama have because one side of Tzvei is water. It's a fortified town, but is that called fortified? Where it's not full with walls? That's about the same shal in Prague as well. Prague, one of the reasons some of Michael because they say that it's not surrounded by walls, it's part of it surrounded by water. That's a swear. I'm up with the suffix. Vadelav chayme. It's not a chayme. The try time let the Bryce become the dinner bote chayme. It's a rule. Ashel loy chayme. V'loy shi'ige. Not over here, which like like sometimes you have like a buildings. They form a wall, they have like the outer part of the city, just all the terraced housing could form part of the wall. That's not called Buter Yechaim. So Viv, Pratlet Tveresh, Yamachamusa, it's a Tveresh thing, like a Braise, that Tveresh is not called a Chaime, the Gabadina Buter Yechaim, because it doesn't have four walls, all four sides. So in the Buter Yechaim, Lemes Hapkala, that's not a Sofit. Shat the Pasuk Sofit, all four sides. Kikum Hapkala, ni Mikra Megilla. My, Prozim in my Makufin Ixiv by Mikra. Megillah Mishim Dahana Megillah Hana Megillah, because this is open, it's not open. As the Hunam Megillah is also open, it's exposed, it's still open. What's the definition of it has to be in walled in cities? Because a walled city is closed and this is open. This is also open. It has water, but it's open. Or Dilma Mishim Dahana Megillah Hana Labin, or because it's a protected. We must be beginning of Mesechta from Ramban. The whole reason behind why fortified cities was because they were protected. They weren't as in danger. If you have water from one side, that's as good as a wall. That's protected. So the Gemara of Asi Kuri Megillah Behutzel by Baise, the Chamaisi held it to Suffolk both days. The Mesapkele Imakufas Chaim B'Meitz Shibenin Hiyalai. Ikidum some say Omer of Asa Hai Hutzel the Bais Benyuman. This Hutzel in the town in Benyuman Makufas Chaim Zichem Makufas Chaim B'Shibenin, and therefore Zichem has to be Megillah on the 15th.